Hi, and welcome to the Life Preserver. Instead of having a big preparedness event, I've decided to make little bit of video clips to help inspire you, educate, and support you on your self-preparedness journey. And I want to start today with establishing the why. Um, there are we have to have a strong why in order to combat or to sustain us against the circumstances, the importance, the urgencies, the thing that's in our way from doing what we want to do. So we got to make that why really strong. Um, and there's a lot of inner world um, stuff going on, whether it's our beliefs or our intentions, our um, reputation, our emotional safety. There's a lot going on. Today, I want to focus on how we value information. And so I'm targeting towards individuals in different categories. And this by no means all of them, but we'll start with the experts. For those of you who wait to be told by a credentialed expert or a high-ranking public official that's declaring a call to action, um, here I have a few quotes. Spencer W. Kimball stated in 1976, "We want you to be ready with your personal storehouses, filled with at least a year's supply. You don't argue why it cannot be done. You just plan to organize and get it done." And another time he said, "The great difficulty is that when difficult times come, those who in normal times could lend assistance are also under the will of the grinding mill. It will be impossible to anticipate and prepare for the eventualities of depression, war, invasion, or bombing, but we can go a long way. What I have seen with my own eyes makes me afraid not to do what I can to protect against the calamities." For those of you who have more of a practical approach, it speaks to you if there's a wise purpose for doing it. This is maybe the financial gurus or how it has an economic effect or how it affects them personally. J. Reuben Clark stated in 1937, "Let every head of every household see to it that he has on hand enough food and clothing and where possible fuel also, for at least a year ahead. You of small means, put your money in foodstuffs and wearing apparel, not in stocks and bonds. You of large means will think you know how to care for yourselves, but I may venture to suggest that you do not speculate. Let every head of every household aim to own his own home, free from mortgage. Let every man who owns a garden spot garden it, and every man who owns a farm farm it." And then Matthew Cowley in 1954 said, "What good will be our greenbacks that we get from the government for security when all the crops of the earth are destroyed by hell?" And then here's my favorite investment advice, comes from President Brigham Young when he said, "The time will come that gold will hold no comparison in value to a bushel of wheat." So for those who like the historical or the cycles in history, those who don't study history are bound to repeat it. We have the prophecy category. And prophecy is on the same spectrum as history. It's just, where are you on the map, on that spectrum? Ezra Taft Benson said, "The Lord has warned us of famines, but the righteous will have listened to the prophets and stored at least a year's supply of survival food." His most famous quote, "The revelation to store food may be as essential to our temporal salvation today as boarding the ark was to the people in the days of Noah." Wilford Woodruff stated, "I will here say that God has inspired me to keep a journal and write the history of the church, and I warn the future historians to give credence to my history. For my testimony is true, and the truth of its record will be manifest in the world to come. All the words of the Lord will be fulfilled upon the nations, which are written in this book. The American nation will be broken in pieces like a potter's vessel and will be cast down to hell if it does not repent. And this because of the murders, whoredoms, wickedness, and all manner of abominations, for the Lord has spoken it." Bruce R. McConkie probably in that same category. Said this in the April conference of 1979. I stand before the church this day and raise the warning voice. It is a prophetic voice. It is a voice calling upon the Lord's people to prepare for the troubles and desolations which are about to be poured out upon the world without measure. For the moment we live in a day of peace and prosperity, but it will not ever be thus. Great trials lie ahead. All of the sorrows and the perils of the past are but a foretaste of what is to be, and we must prepare ourselves temporally and spiritually. Be it remembered that the tribulations lie ahead. There will be wars in one nation and kingdom after another until war is poured out upon all nations, and 200 million men of war mass their armaments at Armageddon. There will be earthquakes and floods and famines. The waves of the sea shall heave themselves beyond their bounds. The clouds shall withhold their rain, and the crops of the earth shall wither and die. There will be plagues and pestilence and disease and death. An overflowing scourge shall cover the earth, and a desolating sickness shall sweep the land. Flies shall take the hold of their inhabitants of the earth, and maggots shall come in upon them. Their flesh shall fall off their bones, and their eyes from their sockets. It is one of the sad heresies of our time that peace will be gained by weary diplomats, or that the predicted plagues and promised desolations can in some way be avoided. We must do all we can to proclaim peace, to avoid war, to heal disease, and to prepare for natural disasters. But with it all, that which is to be shall be. We do not know when the calamities and troubles of the last days will fall upon any of us as individuals or upon the bodies of the saints. We do not say that all of the saints will be spared and saved from the coming day of desolation. It may be, for instance, that nothing except the power of faith and the authority of the priesthood can save individuals and congregations from the atomic holocaust that surely shall be. And so we raise the warning voice and say, take heed, prepare, watch, and be ready. I just want to say the purpose of this is not to incur a feeling, the emotion of fear. Fear is reactive, it's out of control, it's impulsive. And this is instead encouraging a proactive approach, anticipating what the Lord has promised. And since faith is a principle of action, to exercise our faith and act upon the counsel that has been given us.